Have you guys ever had like confidence that you shouldn't have had to perform a task?
Me every time I'm on the podcast.
Yeah. Or like, well, I guess, do you guys think that you could land a plane if the pilots went down? They went, oh my God, we need someone to fly the plane. You come and do it.
I actually do have another joke that goes with this,
All right.
but I can tell you after. Or do we cut it out if it's really bad, and we can just go back to what we're doing?
And then the listener will just hear us like just an obvious cut because the joke's so bad, or they'll hear the joke.
Yeah. Well, do you want to hear it?
Go ahead.
Of course.
Okay. So, I guess it wasn't very good. I thought it was funny.
To answer your question, probably when I was a child, but I get too self-conscious about like trying things knowing that I won't be very good at, so I kind of
You're
shy
literally
away
on a
from them.
podcast. But you do a great job of it.
Yeah, but like shy away of things that you're not good at.
You
or
knew
don't-
you were going to be good.
I knew I'd be okay.
I think you're doing
All right.
great.
I think, look, you fake it till you make it.
And then part two, if I'm in constant communication with the air traffic controllers, and when they've like had it collapsed or had an issue, they then haven't like fallen and hit all the knobs and dials and the plane's going down. I think I could land the plane once. It's not probably going to fly again.
You might
Not
be alive.
everyone would die.
Not everyone would die. Well, this is a story about someone that does have unearned confidence, who believed that they could do things that probably weren't possible and faked it till he made it. This is a story that involves a world record, a fake mustache, at least 5 aliases, and a 12-inch hole in the sport of golf. This is the story of the world's worst golfer. Hello and welcome to Wild World of Sport, the podcast where 3 friends sit down, crack a couple beers, and go on a journey to try and find the wildest story from the world of sport. My name is James Wybrow. I am the caddy for this episode. Those who don't know golf, that's the one that carries all the clubs. Some would say more important than the golfer themselves. Some would be wrong because...
No, sometimes like you get them going like, hey, you should do this thing, and then it turns out to be the right call.
Yeah, but I mean, if there was no one to tell, then it's like saying the race engineer is more important than the driver in F1. Like, they're just telling an empty car what to do if there's no driver.
No,
Not to be that guy, but you said a bunch of friends sit down, crack a couple beers. Ooh. I'm feeling beer crackless right now, James. Oh, yay! Oh, okay. I feel like you're my friend again. Yeah.
Ben's driving.
Which, is that our segue into... No, actually, we got to introduce ourselves first.
I'm James's brother Ben, no relation.
I'm Carlin, Tamp's #1 customer.
There we go. There's the segue. Yes, he is. If you've ever been, you've probably seen Carlin. You should almost, if you go to Tamp and you don't see Carlin or me or Ben there, let us know because something terrible has probably gone wrong.
Yeah.
Or it's in the middle of a work day.
I'm missing. Yeah, something bad's happened.
But if you go there, even if we're not there to be your friend, they'll be your friend. They'll look after you. Pizzas, beers, food, good times. You can find it all at Tamp. And you can find more good times with us on our socials, Instagram, TikTok. There's some stuff still floating around on Facebook. And, of course, YouTube to see the video of us, me waving at you. See this golf fit that I'm rocking for today's episode. I say golf fit. It's a grey plaid polo and a
golf fit.
So golf terminology, are we saying sand trap or bunker?
I'd say bunker. Is there a big debate about it?
I think it's like where you are in the world is what you call it.
Well, like the NRL, we got the bunker, so we're at the bunker.
Yeah,
Place
because
you
you
don't
don't
wanna
want to
go.
be in the bunker.
Yeah, you don't want to
exactly.
be in the bunker. Yeah.
Okay, so the protagonist of our story, his real name, his birth name is Maurice Flitcroft. Now, he has a few other names that he uses throughout this story, but he was born 1923 in Manchester. He relocated to Kendal, which is another northern town in England during World War II. As a kid to get away from the bombing, all that sort of thing.
Oh, like in Narnia.
Yeah, exactly. Except he didn't go through to Narnia. And he grew up, had these dreams, was like, a little bit of a painter as a kid, did a bunch of other little stuff.
World War II painter?
Oh, they're talking about him.
In England.
But he eventually joined the Merchant Navy, which isn't like the military navy. It's just sailing around. I don't know exactly where he sailed or what he did in the merchant navy. It just said he was part of the merchant navy, so going around, dropping off shipments of stuff to ports.
Showboating?
No, I don't think showboating didn't come up. I would have been top. I would have led with showboating. Still waiting on the showboating episode. But he did a bunch of other jobs. So at a time, he was a shoe polish salesman. He was a high diver, a tumbler, and an ice cream seller.
Okay, that seems like a very different end of spectrum things.
Yeah, he's going pew, 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 just doing a bunch of different jobs.
What I'm curious on is it like, someone like his dad or someone's like, yeah, come to the shoe polishing factory or whatever, like, or is he just finding these jobs on his own?
It's unclear. He's born 1923, so this sort of stuff's happening post World War II in the early 50s, late 40s, even partly in the 60s. So there's not a whole lot of records because the real story, even the stuff about him, it's a little bit hazy exactly what the real story is, and that doesn't start happening till the late 70s. And so he was just a bit of a nobody until then. So I haven't tied down exactly what it is. He does have some unpublished memoirs. Maybe that'll tell us a story, but again, unpublished.
Well, yeah, okay. There we go.
He worked, after all those funny jobs, as a crane operator at the Vickers Armstrong's shipyard in Barrow-in-Furness.
Crane operator.
Yeah,
I believe it's pronounced in France.
In France. No, in Furness. It is locally called the longest cul-de-sac in the world because it's on the coast in the middle of nowhere from nowhere else. So you just go down this road and then you get to this town. And pretty much all there was to do there for work was work in the shipyard.
I thought you were going to say be a crane operator. I'm like, there's a lot of cranes there.
Well, be a crane operator in the shipyard or just work in the shipyard.
So what you're saying is he's thriving because out of all the jobs in the shipyard, he gets to be the crane operator. That's pretty good.
It is a pretty good job.
If you're in a crane operator, great time to be listening to a podcast like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I know of a new crane operator, Sasha. You better be listening. You're not. No, you're not. He's at temp right now. His temp is
are they
that good.
allowed? I can imagine that's probably like a distraction, health and safety thing.
Well, I don't think he's crane operating right now, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's a question. Any crane operators, please comment. Wild World of Sport pod.
Right into us. Let us know. Obviously not while you're driving.
Well, you definitely
piloting,
can't comment
operating
while,
the crane.
but we would want to know if you can listen while doing it. But
I mean, I'm sure there's no mobile phone detection cameras in the crane.
Well, they'd be on radio. Or
just because you're saying,
other.
just because there's no cameras that catch you, you can do it. This guy.
But maybe he was living his life to the best of his abilities. By all accounts, he was happy. He married his wife, Jean, in 1963, and they had 2 children, twins, James, great name, and Jean. But Jean, his wife, Jean, Jean, his son, Gene.
Ah, Gene and Jean.
Gene and Jean, yeah. Not sure exactly how that one happened, but then again,
Thought it would be funny. You got to wonder with some of these like names when parents give them. It's just like they got to be laughing when they did that.
Yeah, like Ben or Carlin. Back into the real story. This is a story about sport podcast, and the sport is golf. Now we don't always talk about
sport on this podcast.
Yeah, sometimes there's a bunch of other stuff. We don't always talk about the greatest. Sometimes we do talk about the great athletes. Today is not one of them. Maurice Flitcroft is regarded as the worst golfer of all time. Ben, you said maybe we'll have to preface it with pro golfer. Maybe not. He still might be the worst golfer of all time. So he never played golf. Growing up, well into his 40s, never played golf. As in, even now it's still a bit of a hoity-toity rich sport. It cost a fair bit to play. And he didn't have a whole lot of money. Even when he grew older, had his family, not a lot of money. But then one day, just flicking through the 3 channels on his brand new colour TV, he saw the 1974 Piccadilly World Match Play Championships. And he was in love. Like the subtle strokes, the outfits or costumes, you might call them.
Some call them costumes.
The beauty of the game. He fell in love with it and he thought, well, maybe this is something I can do. And so he grabbed his mother-in-law's walking stick, got a coffee cup and a ball, and started putting it along his carpet, practicing to be like his heroes that he'd seen on TV.
Good on him.
That's just so. I don't know. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment from that.
No, I
The
think
spark
good
of
on him.
life, the joy, like,
Yeah, that's so cool. He's found joy in life. He's seen this on the TV. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna have a go. Have a go.
And have a go he does. So his mother orders him clubs from a catalogue. So I imagine, like, an Aldi catalogue sort of thing. Except you call up, order it. So they're...
It's like the Aldi Isle of Dreams.
Yeah. Oh my God, golf clubs. So they came in this big, shiny red bag. And there was about 15 of them.
Everyone knows that the red makes the golf balls go faster, which is really important in the sport of golf.
Yeah,
Fast
especially
balls.
when the ball's white. You want to have a red bag. And so he immediately went out practicing. Now, he began in the autumn of 1974, but he didn't play much in the autumn and the winter because it was too cold. He was working full time. But by summer, he did, you could say, a Bill Fong. And he went to his local library and he checked out a bunch of books about how to play golf.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe this time that there's books about how to play a sport?
I can believe it for golf.
Yeah, it probably is for golf. I'm just going, why didn't he buy his own clubs? If he was that in love with it, why did he get his mum to buy them for him?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe he was
Maybe
just
his
talking
mum
about it,
really,
yeah.
really loved him. And he said, wow, I'd really love to get into this sport. And she went, oh, that's okay, sweetie. I'll buy these for you. I think it's something our mum might do for us.
Yeah.
Our mum, no relation to either of us.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so he'd go out, and because it's a very rich sport, he didn't belong to a country club. He didn't know anyone to recommend him because you can't just walk in and join. So he went and practiced on the beach. He went and practiced in nearby fields. And occasionally he'd sneak onto courses.
So the beach is my first thought of where you'd go.
Does he was
bunker.
watching on the TV and he thought, I'm going to be stuck in there a lot. I better go to the beach to practice.
Well, the bunker,
Maybe it's like my balls won't roll away so I can find them more easily. Maybe
Yeah.
the contrast of the white.
Actually,
the
knock her
UK,
in the
does it have
ocean.
any real beaches or is it just all pebbly?
Well,
Because that'd be terrible for losing a golf
they
ball.
weren't quite like pebble, but they're not the white sandy beaches that we have here in Australia. Not the pristine best beaches in the world. So his friend Trevor Kirkwood is quoted as saying, he totally, absolutely thought he could win the Open. Now, do you two know what the Open is?
I don't know. Open.
It is one of the four major golf tournaments in the world. Sort of like the tennis Grand Slams.
Yeah.
there's the big
I mean, I
four.
gathered it was a tournament of note.
I was thinking by the Open, it was like anyone can kind of join for this event.
Well, that's sort of how it is. So despite still having never played a full round of 18 holes, he's played a couple of holes illegally, trespassing onto golf courses and just having a smack until he got chased off by groundskeepers. He applied to qualify for this 1976 Open, which was to be played at Royal Birkdale, not far from his home. So the Open is officially called the Open Championship. It is the oldest. It began in 1860. One of the four most prestigious tournaments. Do you guys know what the four are? The big four.
Augusta, like the Masters.
Yep, the Masters.
At Augusta.
Yep.
Live Golf in Saudi.
No.
I was gonna say, I know there's like the PGA Masters or whatever. But
At the
then
PGA Championship.
oh, there we go. But then it's like that's the current thing. It's like
One of them's a gold jacket,
between
one of
Live
them's
Golf.
green, isn't it?
Masters is green, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's the US Open is the last one. And this one,
Fair enough.
Scotland, Northern Ireland, England, it's just called the Open. Officially the Open Championship, but everyone just refers to it as the Open.
and they said a US Open.
Yeah.
So there's the US Open, the Open, the Championship,
The PGA Championship and the Masters.
and the Masters.
Yeah. And so it's the only men's major outside the US, played around England, Scotland, Northern Ireland on traditional links courses. So that means by the sea, natural sand bunkers, the elements come into play because, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, weather's unpredictable, cold, wet, rainy, windy. So the day can change on a whim. The group playing in front of you could have perfect conditions and you 2 minutes behind them could get drenched.
That does seem
Particularly fair.
sporting. Yeah.
Oh, well, Margaret Abbott was a success in the link course.
Yeah. Well, because of the weather.
So there are 9 courses that it sort of shares between. It's at St. Andrews every 5 years. Do you two know St. Andrews? St. Andrews Old Course, the first golf course in the world. One of the most prestigious and
Is
greatest
that the one where there's
courses.
one in like South Australia that has like a mirrored
Reciprocal memberships
So if your
too? Yeah,
membership of-
Cooperpedia, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just a
Oh, that's
dirt
New South
desert.
Wales, not.
Yeah.
South
Out in the
Australia.
middle of, maybe
Yeah.
it isn't Cooperpedia, but out in the middle of desert Australia.
I'm thinking of the largest golf course in the world in South Australia, where it's like 400 kilometers long.
Oh my God.
It's just like random fields is one hole,
That's
and then you
crazy.
drive for another hour, and then it's.
Do you have to keep hitting your
holes?
ball along the way?
Can you imagine doing like a real fair?
Imagine like it's like the Nullarbor Plain
Oh my God.
golf course.
No. Oh, that'd take forever.
Yeah, what par is like 6,000 or something? Like,
And like you said, the Open, so anyone can do it. In theory, anyone can do it. But
not this guy.
not us. And not us now. You talk about how our wild metric is changing the game. Well, Morris, he changed the game. But I'll get to that. So 156 competitors compete, but qualifiers are held. So about 65% of people in the Open are from invitations. So that's previous champions under 60 automatically invited. The top 50 pros are normally given an automatic invitation, and that's based off other tournaments in the PGA Tour and stuff happening around the world. Recent major winners. So if you won the Masters last year and then you sort of really dropped off, they'll still send you an invite because, well, you won the Masters. It's prestigious. They want to have you there. But a minimum of 50 places are saved for qualifying. And that was accurate as of 2022. There's at least 20 places. So qualifiers are open to pros and they're open to amateurs. However, amateurs must provide a handicap and belong to a club. Now, do you two know what a handicap is?
I'm familiar with the handicap.
Like as far as I'm aware, I thought the handicap was like just like you get to change your numbers, so like you get more hits.
Yeah. Ben, do you want to...
So your handicap is the metric of how good a golfer you are. So for a 18-hole course, the par is 72, is what the handicap's based on. So your handicap is, on average, how many over this score would you hit? So if you've got a handicap of 8, then if you hit, you're the quality golfer to finish that 18 holes in 80 strokes rather than 72.
Right. So do you start like is it just a metric of this is my handicap, which means that's like my average?
Yeah.
So it's like you can
handicap.
compare people's handicaps.
Yes, so handicaps are used like as a comparison for like a social tournament. It would then be, okay, this is everyone's handicap. Who played the best round against themselves is kind of the metric.
So the way you get it is you have to go and play, it's normally a couple of rounds with someone else there keeping score for you. Then you submit it to the club and they'll approve your handicap. And that's so that on a really good day you go, wow, I shot, par. That's awesome. I'm a par player. I don't need a handicap. And then the next day it's more accurate to how you actually play.
It's for casual players. It's not for professionals.
Well, yeah, pros are
because they should
zero,
be hitting
negative.
Yeah, you can have a negative handicap. They also like help balance the playing field. So let's say we all go golfing. James's handicap's 10, mine's 30, and yours is 50.
near.
Just for the sake of it, you've got no chance at beating James because you've got 40 larger handicap.
Right.
But then if you're saying you get 40 free strokes and James gets 10, by the end of the day, you might have had the best round of golf relative to your own ability.
Okay.
And so amateurs have to provide their handicap because pros, again, you don't need it. But this is the 70s. Things are a bit more loosey-goosey. Today you couldn't just walk in and say, oh, I'm a pro golfer. They'd sniff you out instantly. There's, the internet. They'd call any club around the world. They're all connected. But this is the 70s. There's no internet.
Carlos
Clubs
Raposo.
aren't all talking to each other. It's a Carlos Raposo sort of situation. But it's sort of up in the air whether how much Flitcroft thought, oh, I'll, lie to him, and how much he just didn't understand. So he never played before, so he never had a handicap. He didn't really understand what it was on the form.
Oh, he's thinking, I don't have a physical or mental handicap. 0 of them.
You can just write no thanks on that bit. It's like when you're like filling in the form, it's like, oh, what's your sex? And I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Handicap? No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, in the movie, they do a joke about that. Handicap. Oh, put in my false teeth, put in the this, put in that. And then they're like, oh, but it says you need to, what pros don't need a handicap. Oh, I'll cross all that out. I don't want to know about that sort of stuff.
There's a movie about this guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll get to that.
Caddyshack.
So that takes us to Flitcroft's first attempt at the Open. So he wrote to golf presenter Peter Allis, who, just on TV, guy hosting, former player, but he got no reply. And so he wrote directly to the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews, who I'll refer to from henceforth as R&A.
Are they that ancient?
Do they actually have ancient in the title?
Yes, they do.
How ancient are we talking?
1860.
It's not that ancient. It's quite modern, I'd say.
Yeah, well, they are the oldest for the sport that they do. So,
Yeah, I'll give them that.
but it's still like, yeah, okay.
Sure.
So, R&A, Royal and Ancient. Still, even when you get it to the R&A, they're still putting the ancient in there. And they sent him an entry form by next post. And there was the 2 boxes, amateur and professional. And since Flitcroft had neither, he just wrote, professional, whatever. I'm a pro. Never played before. Never played a full round before. But he's not the first person to do this. So there was another guy, Walter Danecki. He was a postman from Milwaukee in the US. And he was actually a bit of a golfer. He wanted to try and go pro in the US. But back then, to get a handicap, you had to have a 5-year apprenticeship.
I'm a little bit of a golfer myself.
And he couldn't
5-year apprenticeship to get your handicap.
Yeah, and he couldn't be bothered to do that, so he just wrote professional. Yeah, just trying to earn a bit of money, whatever. Oh yeah, come over. And he shot across 36 holes, 221.
That's not very good.
No.
That was Danecki or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other guy.
Yeah.
So
But
you think 36 for every 9 holes. So you
good
want to
for
average
me.
4 shots every hole. So you think, what was it, 36 holes
yeah.
and then 200? So that's like a decent score for 50 holes.
Yeah, he's a little
Well,
like 80 over par. Somewhere
Good
around
on
that.
him.
Yeah, and the R&A sort of just, whatever, had a little chuckle, and then Walter was on his way. Never really to be thought of again. But that wasn't the attitude that the R&A had to Flitcroft. So he accepted his application, and he was sent to a 36-hole qualifying event at Formby, which was right down the road from him. He almost missed his tee time because he got lost driving there. Obviously, had never been to the course before. And his son, Gene, caddied for him.
Nice.
So his playing partners were Jim Howard and Dave Roberts, and they were already waiting at the first tee, so he didn't have time to warm up, do anything. He just had a sip of his tea, and off he was, ready to go. Quick little, fun little fact, Jim Howard was the first black PGA pro.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact right there.
Little bit of history for Flitcroft's game. And,
So I've got a question.
yeah.
He got the love of the game from watching it on the one of 3 TV stations.
Yeah.
And then
Loosely one of 3. I'm just
yeah,
sort of making
he
a
never
joke.
watched it again to realize how good they were compared to him when he goes to the beach at the random field or the
He thought he
course.
was much better than he was. I talked about having
But
confidence that you haven't
even
earned.
in reality, it's like, oh look, they got a par 3, they got a birdie. I broke into my course and got 12 over. Like, how do you then?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I know a lot of people that tell themselves a lot of things, man.
Yeah, people can believe, and he'd never actually played a full round of golf. He didn't know that he was bad. He didn't know that what it actually took. Had seen it live in person.
It's
I
like
don't know
how
how much he continued to watch on TV either.
It's like how you think Spurs are a Premier League team. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I actually don't mind them.
They stayed up.
Oh, no. I had to do that. I had to do it while you're down.
So I've got a quote from Jim here, from seeing Flitcroft when he rocked up. His mother had bought those for him, talking about his clubs, and there were 15 of them in his bag. His caddy had to take one back to the pro shop, so Maurice had the regulation 14. He was wearing a pair of chinos, a Fred Perry shirt that was ripped at the top, and a pork pie hat. It's his golfing attire. Fred Perry's like the Rivers of England, I guess you could say.
Seems fair enough.
Yeah.
What's a pork pie hat?
Like almost like a fedora. You know, like
not what I was thinking.
Heisenberg's hat.
But
Yeah,
there you go. All right.
Which club did he give back to the pro shop? Putter, something silly.
Well, unclear, but he didn't have his forward, and that was his best, according to him. So Jim continues, Dave and I didn't think too much about this, and when he skied his first tee shot and it came down about 20 yards away, we thought it was nerves. You know, even pro golfers sometimes miss their first shot. Big tournament, lots of people around, first one of the day, you've rocked up late. Okay, you know, it happens, buddy. We've all been there. After gripping the club like he was intent on murdering someone, Flitcroft hoisted it straight up, came down vertically, and the ball travelled precisely 4 feet.
So it's like
For
Happy
his next
Gilmore,
shot.
except for just not very good.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's like a sword, like stabbing down at the
Yeah,
ball kind
like-
of action.
clearly not the regulation way you want to do it.
He's angry. He fluffed the first one.
Yeah, and then the subsequent next shot. Flitcroft himself says, "My drive off the first tee was a real high-flying disappointment. I swung the club mightily and let fly. It was not a total disaster. It could have gone straight up, come down and hit an official on the head, but it didn't. I'm glad to say, it did sail high into the air in a forward direction, but only for a short distance." So it took him 4 shots to get to Jim and Dave's balls from their first shot. By the time he got there, the 2 actual pro golfers had realised that something was a bit off, so they sent someone to get some club officials, but by then, it was too late. He'd already teed off, and, as was the rules now, once someone had teed off, you couldn't pull them from the competition.
Oh, and you can't. I think not even letting him to play through either.
Yeah, so
Oh,
he
that's awful.
he was there, and he now had to play the 36 holes. Well, 18 on day 1, 18 on day 2.
It's what's it? He's made his bed, now he's got to sleep in it.
Exactly.
How much? Okay, let's say you get thrown into that situation. How much do they have to then pay you to then go? Just don't show up for the second day.
How much did they have to pay me? Not very much.
You're
Well-
there. You're holding everyone up. You're the first group off the tee.
Well, there was an unconfirmed story that they offered him before the end of the first day his entry fee back if he just retired there and stopped playing. And eventually they gave, first time ever, and I believe the only time, they gave Jim and Dave, his playing partners, their entry fees back because it had impacted their game because they had to wait so long and just hang around with this guy. So I won't go through all of his holes, but I do have his score, but I won't give you a blow-by-blow. So he went, it's not...
You weren't talking about all his holes. We're getting a blow by blow.
Ugh.
My mind went somewhere.
It's not paired with all the pars and everything. So he shot for the first 9, 7, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 12, 6, 7.
It's actually not like the worst.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I'm probably a similar level.
Yeah, so that was for a total of 61. And then on the back 9, 11, 5, 6, 8, 4, he got a par. 9, 5, 7, 5, 60 for a total of 49 over par on the day. For a world record 121 score. The highest score in professional golf ever recorded.
He's not a professional, so
This was a professional tournament.
that was like my first ever 18 holes of golf was probably around 121. I didn't get any pars though.
And as well, this was a bit of a guess for some of them. So the 12 that I mentioned, he got stuck in a bunker and Jim and Dave couldn't see him. So they just went, it's probably 12 or something. But the playing group behind them said they counted about 12 shots in the bunker alone. But at this
All that
point,
practice on the beach was for
yeah,
nothing.
at this point, what does it really matter? He got
Isn't-
12.
I've played enough Wii golf to know once you hit 12, you're done. Like you move on to the next hole.
It's
I've
nice
not
like
played
that.
enough Wii golf to know that.
But despite this, it's not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure when throughout the day this happened. But by the end of it, and a short time before, a crowd of over 200 people with reporters, TV cameras, just the fans of the day, other players that had already finished, were following this group around to see what was unfolding. Because this is unheard of for someone to be this bad at an event like this. So the aftermath of this. Maurice himself was interviewed after. He said, "I wasn't at all pleased because the score did not reflect my true ability. He was genuinely disgruntled at getting 49 over par. I should have used the forward, but I left that in the car. I was an expert with the forward, deadly accurate, but I don't want to make excuses."
That seems fair enough to me. Guy's pretty reasonable. I believe him.
Yeah. Unfortunate, just
Like-
not his day.
You talk about like people ruining things for like the next person. It's like him doing this has ruined your chances of ever playing like professional golf if you're an amateur now.
Well,
He's actually
amateurs can
pretty-
still go if you're a decent enough amateur. You know, you have to have your handicap of a certain level, and you can make it.
I mean, he did lie on the form. Like, I don't know. Was it stopped? It stopped, the checks of me lying on a form. So if I want to lie on a form, it might be a bit harder. But yeah, I can still get in there.
How much do we want to blame him for lying on the form, and how much do we want to blame the RNA for not checking at all and just going, yep, approved. He said he's a pro. Why would anyone lie about that?
Oh, it's got to be at like 85% his fault. 15% theirs.
It's at least 50-50.
Well, he thought he was good. He thought he was good.
There's a
But
50-50 they've
I don't understand how he could think he was good. Like, if he watched enough golf to then go, this is my new passion, grabbed his mum's walking stick, a coffee mug, and found a golf ball to putt in his own house, surely he at least had to see some putting. So then, did he just watch on the green and went, oh, I'm really good at this, and that's what he thought golf was? Or how can you, like, if you watched any of them, went, oh, they got a par on a par 4. I can't do that every time.
Well,
I'm not as good.
He wasn't great on the green. There's a video of him because to sort of jump ahead a little bit, he became famous for this and people wanted to do interviews and all this sort of stuff. And to be fair to him, he milked it for what it was worth to, get a payday. People wanted to talk to him. He went on a breakfast talk show and they set up like a putting green in the studio for him to putt into, and he misses them all.
It's because he didn't have his forward.
Well, they're sort of making fun of him. He goes, oh, the floor's sloped here. Like, this first one's a warm-up. And you feel a little bit bad for the guy. He said the nerves got to him because he was on live TV, but yet he wanted to be a professional golfer on TV. But I digress. So the aftermath there, reporters tracked down his mother, and so they interviewed her and said that he had recorded...
Why did you buy these clubs, man? What have you done?
They said he had recorded the highest score in Open history. And she replied, so does that mean he won?
Fair enough. What a loving mother right there.
Which shows the level of golf knowledge.
I love that she
possession
bought
the
the clubs for him.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
And then when she was informed that, no, the idea of golf is to get the lowest score, she said, well, he has to start somewhere, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's the most mother answer ever.
Yeah.
She's pretty supportive.
Yeah.
Unconditional love.
Love that.
Yeah. However, well, the media were having a big laugh about this. The RNA weren't. Keith McKenzie, he was the secretary at the time, he was livid. So he banned Flitcroft from all RNA events for life. And the entry rules were changed so that no one could enter like this again. If you were a pro, you had to prove it, that you were a pro.
How outraged do you have to be? A little bit of fun.
I know.
I don't think it'd be a little bit of fun, though, because it's all about like decorum and etiquette.
Yeah, if this is
Yeah, they need to stop with that.
This is them calling the royal and ancient, and they're barely 100 years old at this point.
Yeah.
I'm no means an expert on golf. I've played a few rounds, and you get the buggies, and you're having a good time with family and friends. But it's like the recommended play time for the 18 holes is 4 hours and 15 minutes, and we're usually 5-10 minutes behind the pace. And sometimes we're like, skip this shot, we're a bit slow. We'll just do the best ball, play a bit of scratch. But they wouldn't do that, and they don't have the cart. They're walking everywhere.
Yep.
So this 18 holes could have taken 6-7 hours, even more. And he has to then come back and do 2 days in a row. If you're a pro and you go, I can get this done in 3.5 hours, you're doubling your time just to wait for one guy who by no right should even be there.
Well, after the first day, when he looked at the score, he realised he had every right to continue, but he realised he'd need to shoot 23 on the second 18 to even have a chance at qualifying. He thought, I'll hang it up for this time.
You know who would have hit the 18? Kim Jong-il.
I was going to say Margaret Abbott, but yeah.
Yeah. So he was also banned from all golf clubs in Britain because he was a pro. Because he hadn't joined any yet. You can't then rejoin. You can't join as a pro. You've got to be invited to come and participate. And without a handicap, not being a pro, he couldn't join. No members were going to let him in.
So he's officially cast himself as a pro, and now he's forever a pro.
Yeah,
and
you
now...
can't get a handicap because you're a pro.
Right.
So it's a little loophole. It's just a
so
cycle going
he's
round,
got a
round,
bragging
round, round,
rights
round.
that he's like, yeah, I'm actually a professional
They
pro
consider
golfer.
me a pro.
Yeah, well, that's not bad. Not bad.
Do you think that stopped him? Do you think that's the end of the story?
I don't think he has... I'm still thinking he might have like special needs. I'm thinking doesn't actually comprehend what's going on. Like he is... But he's operating heavy machinery. So it's like he has to at least be somewhat with it.
Mm.
I just think he doesn't care at all.
No, I think he cares a lot. Why would you bother to go through all this effort?
Well, he was also said on the tournament that he was sponsored by the shipyards, and so because of the bad publicity, they demoted him from crane driver, from one source that I saw.
Ooh.
So he was feeling it at home, and he took it personally. So he applied for entry for the next year. How do you think that went?
He got rejected.
He did.
Of course.
He got rejected. For
They
the
sent
next
men to his house to break his legs. That's what he deserves.
He found
honestly.
his
That's what he
Orion.
deserved. Well, they didn't go that far, but Keith Mackenzie, the secretary, wasn't very impressed, and they kept going back and forth, having correspondence for the next year or so with letters. And Maurice has said, no, my game's actually really improved, because they said, because we don't think your game's improved, we're not allowing you to participate. He's like, no, we'll play. How about we play at St. Andrews, and I'll show you. How about we play at the most prestigious golf course in the world?
They did, right?
No.
Oh.
Man,
Just
Mackenzie.
imagine being the
party
person
pooper.
that lost their spot in those qualifying rounds. You're ranked
For him.
51st of like the pros who aren't in the top 50, ranked 101st, and you miss out because this guy's shown up. You'd be livid.
Yeah. So this is 1976 when he first entered. How long do you think he kept sort of trying to push the envelope on this?
Oh,
50 years.
until he died. Until he
Yeah.
was 60, because that's when you are in like the masters scene, like or the seniors.
This cat and mouse game went on for another 14 years.
Yeah, well.
So the next attempts. Now, he had at least 5 different aliases that he entered the Open with. Some was accepted, some rejected. A lot of sources differ on which name he used here and which name he used there, but the same names keep creeping up. So if you really know this story, if you've read the unpublished memoirs, listener, please let me know where I'm getting this wrong. I'm just collating what I can, the best I can here.
Hello, I'm Guy Incognito.
Yep, that's the meme. I was already thinking of it. Just even better. It's even better for it. So he managed to sneak back in 1978. He was caught after a few holes and thrown off the course. But he managed to get back in and start playing.
Why wasn't he arrested for criminal trespass? Like, he has been banned for life from all courses. He should have been arrested and flogged.
Jesus.
Well, in the movie, they arrested him.
Yeah, do they flog him? He deserves a good flogging.
Then he had a couple years off with illness. He returned in 1983 wearing a fake mustache, and he had dyed hair as Gerald Hoppy. So he's Maurice Gerald. I think I said Gene was his middle name, but it's Gerard or Gerald was his middle name. So Gerald middle name, Hoppy was his nickname his mum gave him. And he was masquerading as a professional golfer from Switzerland.
Sorry, all these times did he still have his son Gene as his caddy?
Well, one of them he does, and that's how he got caught and thrown off, because someone went, hang on a minute, isn't that the son of that guy? Wait, that's that guy. Get him out of here.
Perfect plan.
So, Hoppy, Flitcroft, actually did pretty well. He played 9 holes and was at 63 strokes. So, not great, but better, maybe?
That's pretty.
It's a low
skill
skill
when he got
golf,
the first
so.
time. What's that? He's
If he doubled that,
yeah,
he
he's
would
gonna
be
still be
worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
he'd be doing the same spot that he did.
I mean better as in they didn't notice him. He got kicked off in a few holes the time before, and officials only realised because they thought word started spreading around the tournament that there was another Maurice Flitcroft on their hands. And then, quote from Maurice, imagine their surprise when they discovered they had the actual Maurice Flitcroft.
See, I don't think this is funny at all. Like, this is actually like pissing me off.
What? This is hilarious.
I don't imagine you're.
He's messing with a hoity-toity
No, but like
uppity selves.
this is their like profession. It's like you're at your weekend sports game, and then some bugger of a person comes in and just ruins it. Goes, I'm in the middle of the field. No, I'm not going to do anything. I'm in the way. Oh, you have to get the police to arrest me. And the police go, we're just going to take you away and then whatever.
This feels
There's no
like
consequences. Unless he's got like a serious mental disability that like means that he can't actually face time for this. If they've banned him for life, why aren't they pushing for like the harshest prison sentences for like repeated trespass? He knows what he's doing's wrong.
See, I was just thinking it's like when you're at the shops and then like they put your photo up and it's like this person's banned.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, well, they should have put his photo up. I know he's wearing disguises. I'm aware.
A
but
fake
it's
moustache. He wore a deer stalker hat.
It can't
one
have been
time.
that convincing. Surely putting up the photo and
Dyed
being,
hair.
don't let this guy register. It'd be enough, right?
He grew a real moustache one year.
Well, that's effort, I guess.
So in 1990, a fair bit later, he had another attempt as James Bo Jolly, an American. He double bogeyed at the first hole, a bogey at the second, and claimed to be looking at a par at the third before he was taken.
He should have put this much effort into playing golf.
Well, that's an improvement on that attempt at least,
Yeah.
but still. Like,
Yeah, he's done better. So imagine if he just did less on the disguises and growing moustaches and sneaking in and stuff. And just more on playing golf.
I don't have the years that he entered as these or how he did. He also entered as Arnold Palmtree, a nod to Arnold Palmer, and also Count Manfred von Hofmannsthal, which is my favorite one. I don't know if he got in or how he did for those ones, but I do know for a fact for a couple of the years, the RNA employed a handwriting expert to detect his entries. So they had someone look at every single entry of all these
That's
people because
more effort.
he kept sneaking in. So like, right, well, clearly we have to hire a handwriting person to see if this is a fake name instead of going, oh, Arnold Palmtree. Well, that's clearly a fake name. And I think it's like he could have got his sons, his wife, his mates,
but
anyone
if
to
you're
write
if
for
you're one of
him.
the most prestigious golf clubs in the world, you can't then go give us a list of every single pro member or every member of your clubs, and then sift through all those names. You're then going, we're going to hire a handwriting expert to stop him. Or you just actually stop him.
Check the list.
Like,
Use the photo on the wall. Wait a minute.
this seems like it's, well, we actually want publicity and he's a good story, so we're actually going to let him come in. Imagine if you like went to any premier event, any sporting event, and you decide, yeah, I'm participating in this, you would be arrested, banned for life, and then they would actually stop you from ever going back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but this is funny.
This is not funny.
I think it's funny. Carl, do you think it's funny?
Yes.
Listener, if you think it's funny, give it 5 stars. If you don't think it's funny, give it 5 stars.
I think it's funny, like, being in the bunker. Because it's like, oh, it's probably not good, but it is funny. Like, it's all going so badly.
He also entered another time. This might be corresponding to that 1990. It might have been his first one. But he also entered as Gene Pachecki, which could be a nod to Walter or just a nod to paycheck.
I think that
Which
was
is
what
just
it was
for
a
the
nod
money.
to. Paychecky.
Yeah. But let's have a look at his legacy. What happened? Ben, do you think this man deserves any sort of legacy?
He deserves to be shunned, like in society.
Oh, wow.
Like not the level of like, a serious criminal, but he should have been in jail for at least, 12 months minimum.
Like, he's not a serious criminal, but he should be flogged, right?
No, well, I'm thinking at the
Jeez.
time, that's a reasonable punishment. You go, that's a time before, everyone had the right to vote or in, the Western world.
I still don't think you should
Corporal punishment was still allowed. Get a
doesn't mean it
flogging
was,
or a whipping.
doesn't mean it's right.
Doesn't mean
Just because something was allowed.
he's committing fraud.
I mean, he's having a laugh. He's having a laugh at an old hoity-toity golf society. It's the open. It's meant to be open for everyone. He inspired tens of people, I'm sure.
Ones
He
of people.
inspired someone out there.
In the movie, some guy does a speech about how he inspired him. Do you think a movie about a based on true life sports would lie? Would Cool Runnings lie?
So he's definitely passed. He's not 103 now.
Yes, he has passed away.
Yeah.
But let me talk about his legacy. Before you judge him so harshly, let me tell you about his legacy. So he was invited to America in 1988 for the 10th anniversary of the Maurice G. Flitcroft Spring Stag in Michigan. So that's a partners event at the Blyfield Golf Course or Golf Club where the highest score wins. And they give out prizes for, being bad or being good.
Wouldn't it take a really long time? Because everyone's trying to screw up on
Yeah,
purpose.
but it's meant to be. You're meant to the prizes aren't great. You get a bowling ball or a goldfish, a $50 voucher for something. But it's just a little fun event they have in his honor. He didn't know about this at all. But they decided to call him up because his media exploits had made the front page. He was doing TV interviews, international. And so American writer who was a part of the club found out about it and went, oh, let's try and get him. Contacted British Airways and said, hey, would you want to sponsor him for some tickets for this event? They went, oh, yeah, sure. Here's 2 more to give away in a raffle. So they flew him and his wife, Jean, over for this. And Flitcroft jokingly says, it's the first time we left the house since the gas explosion, like the gas stove or something, just having a laugh. They didn't go out much. This was their first ever international trip. Never been overseas before. And everyone loved him.
Nice.
So it was written that the journalist that brought him over said he did himself proud at Blyfield. Lots of people were watching, video cameras were rolling, and he hits his first tee shot right down the middle, 200 yards. It was an excellent drive. Some people said it was a bit disappointing that, oh, we brought the worst golfer in the world here and he's hit a really good shot. Huh. But he was back to his old Flitcroft self soon later, hitting bogeys, getting stuck in the bunker, having a bit of fun. But at the end of it, the journalist said, I think the RNA would have been proud of him. He played surprisingly well, with a functional swing, and I think he shot somewhere in the high 80s, low 90s. He'd obviously been practicing.
Good on him.
And for people that aren't golfers, sort of scratch golfers out there, if you're first sort of picking it up and looking to improve and just having fun, shooting under 90 is a pretty decent effort for 18 holes. You know, it's 20 over par, so you're only getting 1 off par every time, which, in the scheme of things, isn't really that bad.
See, this
Not if you want to call yourself a pro.
This could have been a much more inspirational story.
It is inspirational.
No, if he then showed up to the first one and went, I just want to try it, and he was completely honest on the forms and went, no, you're not good enough, but since you've started, you have to play it all. He then realizes I'm not good enough, works his butt off, gets good enough to then make it as an amateur, to then attempt to make it again, but he was an absolute nuisance and an F-wit.
I wouldn't call it an F-wit. The movie makes him seem a lot nicer. Maybe you have to watch the movie. But Maurice Flitcroft died aged 77 in 2007. He was, in fact, though, you say he's having a laugh, but he's quoted as not really liking the publicity. His friend Trevor, who had the quote earlier about he really thought he could win, he thought he was a good golfer. In later years, he acknowledged that he wasn't, but he never thought of himself as a failure. He wanted to play in the Open, and to a degree, he achieved it.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, like his mum said, you have to start somewhere.
When you do your fake alias as Paycheck,
Gene Pachecki.
You're not doing it for publicity. Like, you're not even trying at that point.
I think Arnold Palmtree isn't really trying at that point.
Well, either of them, you're not really trying. If that's like, no, I'm not doing it for the publicity. I'm trying to annoy people and make it a whole scene. But no, I'm just doing it for me.
So his obituary read, Maurice Flitcroft was a chain-smoking shipyard crane operator from Barrow in Furness whose persistent attempts to gatecrash the British Open Golf Championship produced a sense of humour failure among members of the golfing establishment. Even in his obituary, he didn't write it, I don't think, but still poking a bit of fun at what he was achieving and what he was doing. Blyfield still hosts the Maurice G. Flitcroft Spring Stag, and eventually they even cut a 12-inch hole into the green. So imagine the width of a foot-long subway. That's how big the hole is, so it's easier for people to hit it into. They also added a green with 2 holes in it. Obviously, there's only 1 hole on the green for normal golf. So they're still having a bit of fun, having a laugh. They do a little trophy in his honour. He changed the golfing world, changing the game right up there. And to add, if you don't think it's quite wild enough, I think it's pretty wild, some little random facts. His twin sons, James and Jean, they won to some reports, they won the 1984 World Disco Championships.
That is wild, but also you should have brought that up before, dived a little bit more into it.
What is the World Disco Championships?
It's like disco
team
dancing. Yeah, team dancing. They won the 1984 as Paris Ventura and Troy Atlantis.
They made these names up.
Well, yes.
It
runs in the family.
See, that's giving me the vibe of like Sean and Gus in Psych.
Oh, yes.
When they're like on the talent show.
Or like, hello, I'm Sean Spencer, psychic detective. This is my assistant, Paris Ventura. one of those very silly names. But maybe there's a whole nother story in here because I was trying to look to confirm it. The World 10 Disco Championships for like 8 years in a row, it was won by David Sycamore and Denise Weaver. Like they just dominated this
busted
disco
moves.
dancing championships.
I want to watch them dance now.
Yeah, maybe there's a story. So there's a movie that I did watch for research. Tried to pin down what's true, what's not. They had a third kid added in there that was like a bit more high society. Went to engineering school, got a degree, and it's like supposed to show the social class differences as like an antagonist in the movie, but all false. The movie was based on a book co-written by Simon Farnaby. Does that name ring a bell? He's one of the Horrible Histories writers.
No.
And Horrible Histories?
I know Horrible History. I've never seen Simon Farnaby on the front.
He's maybe not writers, but one of the actors in the show. You know, Death from Stupid Deaths.
Yeah, I was thinking, what would his be like? Just like golf club to the head, putt to the head.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
watch
who
out,
Simon
it could
is.
be you.
Yeah, exactly. So he co-wrote the book on it, and it was based off the unpublished memoirs. That movie and the book are called Phantom of the Open. And that's the story of Maurice Flitcroft, the Phantom of the Open, the worst golfer in the world. We're going to have a quick break, let Ben cool off, and then we'll rank this story on our Wild and Mild ranking board.
It's below par.
Welcome back to Wild World of Sport. This is your first time hitting the links with us. As a little golf term. Because links, coastal links, whatever. That's what it's called. This is the part of the show where we try and rank the story that we just heard on our very scientific Wild and Mild ranking board. It's not as scientific now, mainly vibes, but it will get scientific at the final episode of the season, which maybe we'll do it at TAMP. Who knows? You can do pretty much everything else there at TAMP. You can watch sport, you can hang out with friends, you can drink beer, drink wine, drink spirits. We just talk about the beer. You can do a whole lot of other stuff there too.
You can eat pizza.
Oh,
We do
eat
talk
pizza,
about that
eat wings,
occasionally.
eat chicken, pickles. Pickles are big there.
You could just sit there and do like none of those things. They would think it's a little strange, but hey, it's a cool place to be.
You can
Just
bring
sit
your
on the
crafts.
patio,
Yeah.
hang out with your friends, trivia,
Mm.
live music.
Yeah, open mic.
Yeah. I don't know what else is there. That's
What
pretty
else
much
do you
it.
need?
Yeah.
I don't think
Board
you need anything
games.
else.
They had like board games, like nothing major.
You could bring your own, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I've
probably,
definitely
but
gone and played board
like
games there too, so you
Scrabble
could
or
do that too.
Pictionary, deck of cards,
Mm.
play some Scrabble.
And if none of that is taking your fancy, maybe you'll find what you like on our socials. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Wild World of Sport Pod. I think I've been dropping the pod the last few times I've said it. Like in our first
gotta
episodes
stop
when I
dropping the
kept
pod.
saying
I'm sure if you look it up,
the Wild World of Sports.
yeah, I think if you looked up just Wild World of Sport, it would still show up.
Yeah, we do now. We got more episodes. But let's get into this ranking. So I told the story, so I won't start off. I feel like you're going to be really mean, Ben. So I want to start with Carlin.
Well, I wasn't gonna be much better. I was kind of thinking, I'm like, well, like first we got to think, like I know he's not on here, but Carlos Raposo, right, did it way better. You know, like
Made money from it.
we
Well,
literally.
this guy made money. He did TV deals. He went over to America.
No, but not from
wrote
playing the
books and-
sport.
No, well, I mean, he wouldn't have made all these TV deals and done all these interviews and had newspaper articles. There's one I didn't forgot to add it in and mention it, but he did an interview with a reporter where they were set up to have lunch and play 18 holes, but then on the day Maurice changed the deal and said, "You've also got to pay for all the balls I lose," and he lost 12 balls.
That's not that much of a deal for like a reporter. That's not going to break the bank. They're not giving
Yeah.
him like the best quality balls, I'd imagine.
But still, that's what they wanted for the story.
Okay, Colin, lead us off.
I mean, I don't know. I was still, like, cause yeah, it's like with Carlos Raposo at least, it's like, you know, he's gotten and been signed by multiple teams, had all these fun excuses to get out of it, and at the end of the day, I guess part of it is just he was so likable of a guy that people were happy to cover it up for him and help him get onto these teams. But here, if you move your head a little bit, James, here I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
I'm going to jump in here.
All right, Ben.
This is the wildest.
Yes, I know
of
we're
the
going off the
story.
wildness,
Not
and
how
for
much
me,
you
the
like it.
wildest part is he faced no real repercussions for any of the actions that he did. If we've got such a high society, hoity-toity sport and community at one of the 4 majors, and they never really did anything about his antics, for me, that's the wildest part about it. And like his commitment to never giving up the game of golf, because it'd be pretty humiliating to go up and then, shoot, what was it, 45
49
or 49 over par.
Well, Bill Fong played for 10 years and then gave up because he wasn't going to go pro.
But I'm thinking it's above Pigeon Racing Has Science and below the 1909 NRL Grand Final. That's where I'm kind of thinking.
I was kind of looking at that only free spot on the board and thinking, does it belong there? And I was thinking, yeah, I guess so. Because if we think about it, it's like, look, below it, it's kind of just like, I don't know, partly like, what are we doing with the story?
Some of our experimental
Fartgate
stuff.
was a good one.
Yeah, was it?
Thought it was pretty wild.
Our experimental.
Yeah, they were experimental stories. But it's like, like Curse of the Azuri, well, I couldn't put it below that. It's like, I kind of was a crackpot. Like, I put my tinfoil hat on for that one.
That was
like,
very funny though.
Yeah, and it's like, and admittedly, the pigeon racing one was interesting, but it was more just like an interesting dive into all the pigeon racing. So I'm a little bit less on the fence putting this one above that. But that being said, this probably is wilder than that.
I will jump in to sort of have my say. I think maybe because I've, the one researching and I watched the movie. The movie does a great job of, well, it's a movie, so it captures you and tells the story, and it maybe does make it a bit larger than life because you see him rock up wearing the fake moustache and like, Maurice is like, no, I'm Gerard Hoppy from Switzerland. Ha ha ha. I don't know exactly if that's how it went down, but it's pretty wild that someone was able to enter the Open in the first place just by saying, oh yeah, I'm a pro, and no one checked it. And then they changed the rules. And the fact that, oh, sure, you say, oh, they weren't able to kick him off, they should have punished him more. The fact that they didn't catch him multiple times and let him at least start playing. Like, he made it halfway through or a quarter through one of the qualifiers.
Yeah.
Wearing a fake moustache, and they didn't know. Like, Carlos Raposo didn't wear a fake moustache.
I reckon it can go above pigeon racing. I believe.
I was thinking maybe in the realm of another based on a true story movie, because there is a spot there between Sweet Kiss of Death and Jamaican
definitely
Bobsled.
not gone above Jamaican Bobsled.
No, Jamaican Bobsled's just a fake story, though.
No, there's a real story.
it is
The
a real
movie
story. The
isn't
movie's
accurate, and you're betting that this movie, Phantom of the Open, is more true than the Jamaican Bobsled story.
Well, from all my research, it seemed a lot truer.
So it was from his own memoirs about what happened.
Well, it was one of the writers of it was the guy that wrote the book, The Phantom of the Open, Simon. Can't remember his last name, but from Horrible Histories.
Yeah.
He was also in the movie. He played the French golfer that was paired with him on the first one. That was like, oh, sacre bleu.
I'm not going above Jamaican Bobsled. It can go below. I'm happy with anywhere between above Pigeon Racing Has Science and below Jamaican Bobsled team.
I'm sitting on that one. I think it's exactly where Ben said it should be, right above pigeon racing. Do you think it's crazier than the 1909 grand final where they were just like, yeah, okay, you win. The other team didn't come.
I think it's a little bit crazier than that. Like, this involves like fake moustaches
It's
and a whole.
more than the free
It
diving.
involves a cheap disguise. It's automatically more wild.
Well, yes, a cheap disguise that worked.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you think
we're going to re-rank it anyway. Check it wherever. You can adjust it.
All right.
Who cares?
Ben said not.
my
above
hard
Jamaican
line is
bobsled.
it's gone below.
So how
Jamaican
about I
bobsled.
move bobsled
Yeah,
up
I'll be okay with that.
and we go above free diving?
Sounds good.
Are you happy
It's
with
crazy to me, but hey. Anyway,
I
we
will-
re-rank anyway. No.
How
check
about
'em out.
above
we re-rank
1909
it. We
then?
re-rank it. It's
No,
good.
go
Alright.
above Moldova.
that? Put it wherever I want.
Molkenova, not Moldova.
First?
You can put it first, but you'd be lying to the viewers.
I don't know why his wife didn't leave him.
What? Goddamn.
But you think about it, you need to be a bit of a realist. He's crap at it all the time. He's wasting.
I mean,
going
genuinely,
away.
I think the guy's hilarious. I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
The money that-
Yeah,
like,
I
imagine-
think it's funny as.
He didn't have the money to afford to play golf, but he then went, I'm going to spend all this money traveling across the country to enter
He must have been a person
The
that made
major-
people laugh
a
around.
major tournament.
And I think that's beautiful.
Oh, you got demoted at work. You now bring in less money in. Next year, you're trying it again. No, I'm drawing the line.
This got them an international trip to
oh,
Detroit.
10 years
Michigan.
later?
Yeah.
At least 10 years later.
Yeah, it was 12 years.
It probably
from when
got
he
him
first
some
entered.
stuff in the short term.
Yeah, he
He
went
demoted
on TV,
from work.
got signed deals, was known as a golfer, went around, played golf with lots of famous people. in the movie, the son that doesn't exist learns a lesson because the Japanese business people that are going to buy the shipyard are like, are you Maurice's son with Flitcroft? And he's like, boss is like, no, different guy. Because he's embarrassed. He's like, no, he is my son. And he learns his lesson. And they're like, oh my God, we love your dad. So that fake thing that happened, yeah, think about that. And that's my straw man argument for this.
It just like when there's no justice, it just annoys me.
Well,
He's taken a spot in the qualifiers from someone that is actually good enough, and now they've missed out because
only
selfish
out of
prick.
there was hundreds of people that go to the qualifiers, and 4 people from each qualifier, and they happen all over the world, then go in. He's not really taking a spot from anyone.
Even still.
Realistically, it's like saying, oh, at the Australian Open, we give a bunch of wild cards to Australian players instead of other ones. Realistically, the ones we're not giving it to aren't winning, and the Aussie ones aren't winning either. So we might as well have someone else to cheer for. Happens at the US Open, happens.
Yeah,
at
but
the
imagine
French
if it's
Open,
like
happens at
I
Wimbledon.
signed up, said I want the wild card, and I've never played tennis.
That'd be pretty wild.
It'd be
I
like,
think
no,
that's pretty wild.
but
And then
then-
you enter
but
the next
I'll hear
year
you
with a
out.
fake
Where
moustache.
all other tennis players who missed out on going, why'd you pick him? Wouldn't that ruin it for everyone else?
Well, what about the guy that won the 1-point slam? $1 million. Pretty wild.
He was a tennis coach and semi-pro player
Yeah, well, Maurice was
against
a pro
against
player.
pro players who weren't trying, because it looks bad to then you're the professional athlete who's made $30 million in your career.
I'm sure they were trying in the final. But
No, I don't think so.
digress, we do have to get out of here. Let us know in the comments on Spotify, in the reviews on Apple, on our socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Comments there. Make sure you like the video if you're watching it. Give it a subscribe. We're on our journey to 1 million subscribers.
Why don't we set the bar so low? Why don't we go to was it 250 million's the new record for the most subscribed channel?
I think they've swapped it. This is like a 10-year-old joke, but they've swapped the running count of PewDiePie and T-Series of, who's getting more subscribers. They replaced PewDiePie with us because we're catching up to T-Series.
Damn.
As soon as we
Right
get
away.
above the Mr. Greedy, the Pakistan
Oh, yeah.
games.
Mr. Greedy.
Who's doing that story? They play sport.
I mean, is it it's not wild? It's just sheer sporting ability that I watch on that.
but is it wild?
The one kid that always gets the papaya or something is always so upset.
I'm trying to think. It's like sad boy or something. Is like one of his names.
All right, goodbye everyone,
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Like, follow, subscribe,
and
do all that.
enjoy the rest of your crane operating shift.
Yeah, my
If you
name's
still have your job.
James Wybrow. I was the caddy for this episode.
I'm James' brother Ben, no relation.
Carlin? Who is Carlin? I'm Guy Incognito.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. There are some passengers there on the plane, and their pilots die. And these 2 very brave passengers make their way into the cockpit, and they sit down. They move the pilots aside. They're talking to air traffic control. Air traffic control says, "Okay, yep, you're going to need to look for the left dial on, down here, yep, below the red knob, yep." These instructions go on for about 6 minutes. And eventually air traffic control says, "All right, I think you guys are all good to take off." Oh, I guess it wasn't very good. I thought it was funny.